So, today I want to share something with you well, it's pretty powerful. It's a piece of wisdom from a 77-year-old man named William, and it's basically a masterclass in how to reclaim your own life. Let's get into it.
And he starts with this line. And man, you can just feel the weight of it. This isn't just some casual advice. This is a whole lifetime of experience boiled down into one urgent plea. He's asking us to not just hear the words, but to really, truly understand what he's about to share.
You see, for most of his life, William was that guy, the nicest guy in the room. You know the type. Always there to help, never says no, super generous. And you think that's a great thing to be known for, right? But as he's about to tell us, that praise was actually the bars of a cage he was living in. And this is where the disconnect becomes so clear, it's almost shocking. On the outside, everyone saw this helpful, generous person. But on the inside, that whole performance was being fueled by sheer terror. It was leaving him completely drained, just exhausted. This wasn't real kindness, it was a crisis hiding in plain sight. So William gets to the heart of it here. He's really clear that his constant stream of yeses wasn't coming from a place of selflessness at all. No, it was being driven by something way deeper, something much more primal, a deep-seated fear of being disliked, of being rejected.
And this really redefines the whole thing for me. We tend to think of people-pleasing as just, a personality quirk, like being a little too polite. But William reframes it completely. It's not a personality trait. It's a survival tactic. It's a defense mechanism you put up because you're terrified of not being accepted. And here's the devastating result of living in that fear. This idea of shrinking yourself. It's just so powerful, isn't it? The idea of making yourself smaller, sanding off your own edges, quieting your own opinions, all so you don't risk making anyone else feel uncomfortable. Now, imagine doing that every single day for decades. So this shrinking, this self-diminishment, it just goes on and on for years. Until one day, out of the blue, a single innocent moment happens that just shatters his entire reality. And it came from the one person he probably wasn't even trying to perform for, his own son. Just a simple question from his 12-year-old boy. But for William, who was 45 years old at the time, it was like a lightning bolt, because he realized, in that instant, he had no answer. He had spent so many years reflecting what other people wanted that he'd completely lost himself. When he looked inside, there was just nothing there. And that wasn't just some awkward moment that passed. No, that question stuck with him. It haunted him. For 30 years, it just echoed in the back of his mind, a constant nagging reminder of the person he'd given up in exchange for everyone else's approval. 30 years. That's some heavy stuff. Okay, so fast forward a bit. William's older now, and he starts looking around at people his own age, people in their 70s and 80s. And he starts to notice a really distinct pattern. He sees that everyone's kind of split into two groups, and the difference between them revealed the true long-term cost of a life spent performing.
And you can see the two paths right here. On one side, you have the miserable performers. They're still running on that hamster wheel, still exhausting themselves trying to manage how everyone sees them. But on the other side, you have the peaceful ones. And their secret? It was simple. They just got tired of the act. They stopped adjusting, they stopped managing, and they just started being. I just love this metaphor. The performance of being someone else, of pleasing everyone, it eventually just gets too tiring to keep up. The peaceful ones are the people who finally found the courage to just walk off the stage. And in that simple act of walking away, they found a kind of happiness that they've been missing their entire lives. So after seeing where these two paths lead, it finally clicked for William. He understood what he had to do. He had to learn to use the one word that he had been absolutely terrified of his whole life. He had to learn to say no. And this right here is the mechanism. This is how people-pleasing eats away at you from the inside. See, it's not one big betrayal of yourself. It's thousands and thousands of tiny little ones. Every single time you say yes, when your gut, your heart, your whole being is screaming no, you're sending a message to yourself. And that message is, you don't matter. You literally hollow yourself out, one yes at a time. 68. That's how old he was. 68 years old when he finally said no to someone, let them be upset about it, and didn't immediately rush in to apologize or fix it. He says it was one of the most freeing days of his entire life. It's a tragedy that it took so long, for sure, but man, what a powerful lesson for the rest of us.
Which brings us to the final urgent point of this whole story. William's life is a warning. It's a plea, really, born from 60 years of regret. And his message to you, to me, to all of us, is so simple. Don't wait. You do not need to wait until you're 68 to finally give yourself permission to be yourself. So let's just sit with this for a second. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to disappoint people sometimes. It's okay. You are allowed to have your own needs, and you are not responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. You're allowed to be a full human being, not just a mirror reflecting what other people want to see. So William leaves us with this final, really challenging question, and it's an invitation to look at your own life, right now. What performance are you tired of giving? What's the one thing you've just been pretending is okay when it's really not? What stage are you ready to walk off of? Now that's a question worth asking yourself.